love one another as I have loved you. Verse 11, you cannot love one another as I have loved you unless you have my joy. But remain in me that your joy may be full. How do we remain in you so our joy can be full? How do we love our brothers the way Yeshua has loved us? All the way back to verse 10. By staying in his ahava.
Amen. Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
If you try to love other people in your own strength, you'll make a fool out of yourself. You'll make a fool out of yourself. There it is, all tied up. You want joy? You got to stay in his presence. You want to love other people? You've got to stay in his presence. You want your joy to be full? You've got to stay in his presence. And in his presence, you'll obey his commandments, obviously. Obviously.
Amen.
But it's not the commandments that are making your joy full. It's the fact that his presence invokes you to keep his commandments. Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
The oil of joy can overcome our sin and Satan's accusations. I'll say that again. We'll close with this. The oil of joy will overcome your sin. The oil of joy will overcome Satan's accusations. The good news of the renewed covenant will overcome Satan's accusations. It is finished. Kala, it is finished. Telestia, Kala, it is finished. The only question remaining this day is, will you enter into it? If you enter into his forgiveness, into his presence, you have forgiveness. If you enter into his presence, you have forgetfulness of sins. You have joy. You're able to love your brothers, but if you don't abide in his love, you cannot love others. It's a nice sermon for a conference, but you cannot love others. The only way to love others is to abide in his love. Yochanan 15:12. This is my commandment. Here's the Torah. This is Torah. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. That's Torah. How did he love us? With his righteousness. But here's his righteousness. It's impossible without his presence. His righteousness is only to be found in his presence. That's why the most important thing, and some of you are going to misquote me, and that's okay, because other people have twisted my words also. The most important thing for a believer is not to obey the Torah. The most important thing for a believer is to abide in his presence, because when you abide in his presence, you will obey his Torah as a byproduct of the joy that he's given you. Here's what abiding in his presence can do. Instead of listening to the accusations day and night, they never stop. How many know the accusations never stop? Just because she's quiet or he's quiet, don't worry, pretty soon they're going to break out from somewhere else against you. Matthew 5:43. You have heard it has been said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. Rather, I say to you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do tov to them that hate you, and make tefillah for those who despitefully use you and persecute you. That you may be children of your Abba who is in the Shamayim. For he makes the sun rise on the evil and on the tov, and sends rain on the tzaddikim and on those who are not tzaddikim. For if you only love those who love you, what reward have you? Do not even tax collectors do the same? And if you greet your Israelite brothers only, what do you do more than others? Do not even tax collectors do also? Therefore become perfect, even as your Abba who is in the Shamayim is perfect. Hello? Amen. What is Yeshua saying here? If you focus in on the perfection of your Father, and you go in verse 48 of Matthew 5, you'll be able to backtrack to verse 43 of Matthew 5. You don't start in Matthew 5:43. You start in Matthew 5:48. You abide in your Father, and then you could forgive those. And then you could love your enemies. And then you could pray for those who despitefully use you and persecute you. But you've got to start in verse 48, because that's where you are now. You've been perfected by his blood. You've been sealed by his Spirit. And now backtrack and do all the things that his love will do to others through you. We love you. Shabbat Shalom.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. Baruch Hashem. Dinner, please. Baruch Hashem.